UNCP dedicates a building to a former chancellor.
And the Student Government Association concludes their election season.
Those stories plus, chess is playing a huge role in an elementary school in Raleigh. I'm Jay Locklear.
And I'm Jayla Coley. You're watching Carolina News Today. Family, friends, former colleagues, and university leaders gathered to honor the late Dr. Joseph B. Oxendine on Thursday with a dedication to the university's third chancellor. The former West Hall has now been renamed Joseph B. Oxendine Administrative Building after undergoing a $14 million renovation. The ceremony included several speakers and an unveiling of the new signage and a portrait of Oxendine in the first floor lobby. Oxendine served as chancellor from 1989 to 1999 and is the great-grandson of one of the 7 founders of the institution.
Voting has concluded for the Student Government Association here at UNCP. But before students cast their final votes, they were able to hear from candidates at the presidential debate. CNT Associate Producer Josh Baker tells us more.
While the SGA elections are being decided as this airs, the presidential candidates met last Tuesday for an open debate in UNCP's Upchurch Auditorium. The nominees for SGA president and vice president ran on combined tickets. They included the presidential candidate Aspen Andersson and her running mate Whitney Peck, and presidential candidate Talia Daniels and her running mate Yamil Hernandez Sanchez. The debate was moderated by current SGA vice president Ashanti Hendricks, who took turns posing questions that were submitted anonymously by students.
What would your plan be to make those changes for an inclusive campus?
Diversity and cultural competency sessions and training. We want to encourage translators throughout different departments so those students.
Mental health was a major concern for both parties.
I think that we really want to bring back wellness days because even without COVID and bringing back spring break, wellness days are still important. We want to make sure that students are connected to CAPS. And then we also just want to focus on that inclusivity in the dining hall and all organizations and just elevating that student voice for everyone.
So what we want to do is encourage professors to implement days into their syllabus so students have those days when they feel like they can't get out of bed and they're depressed, because we see that college depression is at an all-time high, as well as college suicide.
The debate was also streamed online for commuter students or those wishing to socially distance by UNCP's news publication, The Pine Needle.
Voting closed Sunday, and results from the election are expected to be certified by April 10th or earlier if available.
Afghan refugee children are adapting to a new life in North Carolina by playing an ancient game that some historians say originated in their homeland. The Taliban outlawed the game of chess at one point, but a Raleigh elementary school is using it as an important teaching aid in the classroom. Reporter Joe Fisher from WRAL explains.
It's game time for this special group of students at Stow Elementary in Raleigh. They came to learn the game of chess. Elshan Mouradiabadi is a chess grandmaster, now living in Durham. He introduced the students to kings, queens, bishops, and noble knights. The students and their families are refugees from their troubled homeland of Afghanistan, where chess, some say, was born.
Both India and Persia claim chess as its own.
Carol Meyer, executive director of U.S. Chess, says the game itself has been attacked in Afghanistan.
There was a time back in the early 2000s when the Taliban government was first installed where chess was actually banned.
With the Taliban back in control, chess may once again become a crime. Principal Chris Cox says here the game has helped to break down barriers.
Obviously, in a new place, at a new time, feeling very foreign to them, this is something that really gives them a little bit of familiarity with something that they love, as simple as the game of chess. And again, it's why we do what we do, right? To have our kids just to see that twinkle in their eyes when they're learning. And all of these students are still trying to master the English language. And so one connection for them with the game of chess has been really great.
We see chess as a universal game. And, it's a universal language. Today, these kids were able to move the pieces, even though they haven't yet mastered the language that we were speaking in the room.
In the end, each student took their own new chess set home. Joe Fisher, WRAL News.
It's only a coincidence, but the Department of Music at UNCP is finishing up a series of performances from the musical Chess tonight at the Gibbons Performing Arts Center.
A Roland man has been arrested and charged with murder in connection with the disappearance and death of a St. Paul's woman. Michael Brayboy was arrested Friday by Robeson County Sheriff's Office investigators. Brayboy was charged with first-degree murder, burning of personal property, concealing a death, and a host of other charges. Brayboy was placed in the Robeson County Detention Center without bond. Anyone with information regarding the case is asked to contact the Robeson County Sheriff's Office at 910-671-3100. A Tennessee wildfire causes damages to homes and businesses.
And a college professor calls the police on students who were late to class.
UNC fans rush Franklin Street in celebration of the Duke defeat.
We'll tell you about it when we come back.
Hey everyone, I'm Harris Kay for NCDOT Now. Spring means more people will be traveling to take advantage of the nice weather, but while you're driving, it's important to make sure your focus always remains on the road. April is Distracted Driving Awareness Month. Distractions come in many forms, from cell phones ringing to passengers singing, and they can hamper drivers' reactions to changing traffic conditions. NCDOT reminds everyone to stay alert on the road.
We need to educate everyone. Many people are under the mistaken impression that this is just an issue related to young people. But in fact, we see people of all ages that are engaged in distracted driving. It's dangerous. Research shows that it's as dangerous as impaired driving.
When you're behind the wheel, the only thing you should be doing is driving. The COVID-19 pandemic has reminded us all about the importance of our healthcare providers. This past week, the North Carolina Department of Transportation honored one such healthcare provider. A bridge in Graham County was officially unveiled last week bearing the name of Dr. Patricia J. Johnson. Johnson served as the local primary care physician, specialist, emergency room doctor, and obstetrician for more than 45 years in Graham County. She carried out her important work in a county with no hospitals. In recognition of her extraordinary work, the North Carolina Board of Transportation unanimously approved a resolution dedicating the bridge in Dr. Johnson's honor last fall. Thanks for joining us for this week's NCDOT Now. Stay safe out there.
North Carolina authorities are investigating the death of a 2-year-old boy in a construction accident Friday night. The Franklin County Sheriff's Office says the toddler died after being run over by a skid steer loader. A family acquaintance was operating the machinery at the time. The Sheriff's Office says no charges have been filed as they are still in the early stages of the investigation.
Georgia State University professor is under fire for calling police on students who were 2 minutes late for class. It happened near Atlanta at one of the school's suburban campuses. A woman who says she's close friends with the students spoke out about the incident on TikTok, and her video has now gone viral. Jamie Kennedy of WGCL has the story.
They're both extremely traumatized, to say the least.
That's how Bria Blake described two of her close friends, Cameron and Taylor, after she says they were removed from a Georgia State University class by police for showing up 2 minutes late.
When the professor then asked them to leave, Taylor responded and said, "We paid to be here."
Blake posted about the incident on TikTok, which has been viewed over 330,000 times.
This is not something that we're going to let them, sweep under the rug and try to keep quiet. This is a big deal.
In the video, she mentions the professor involved as Carissa Gray, who is an associate professor of English at the Newton County campus, according to the college's website. Blake says her two friends walked into their classroom and took out their belongings when Gray asked them to leave for being late. Blake says she met her friends just after police were called.
When we told him this was extremely unreasonable, he did appear to be agreeing with us that it was unreasonable. However, he was just doing his job.
According to Blake, at no time did anyone involved, including the professor, say the two were acting irrational or unruly.
Especially as a black woman, for her to do that is extremely heinous, because she herself should understand what it means to call the police on black youth in America.
We reached out to the university about the incident. In a statement, they say the provost and police chief have reached out to meet with the affected students, and the professor is no longer teaching in-person classes. Blake feels that isn't enough.
She shouldn't be teaching, period. I don't care if it's online or in person.
The students, Cameron and Taylor, declined to comment on the matter because they're considering legal representation. Blake says she and the students spoke with the dean and they're not satisfied with the outcome of that talk. Professor Gray's page on ratemyprofessor.com is now being spammed by people calling her racist, although she's a black woman herself.
The Hatcher Mountain fire that started on Thursday has been contained, but it has left damage to more than 100 structures in the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee. One of the homes destroyed belonged to a 72-year-old woman who lost everything she owned. Despite the catastrophe, she says she feels lucky to be alive. Sam Luther of WVLT reports.
The thought of this level of devastation never crossed Sue Barker's mind.
Not once, or I would have taken a lot with me. Didn't even think about it.
The 72-year-old left her home on Hatcher Mountain Road Wednesday morning for work. She hasn't been able to return due to the mandatory evacuations, not knowing if her home was okay until she got a text from a friend asking a simple question: is this your house?
And I wouldn't have thought it was my house, but I had 3 wrought iron chairs that had baskets of flowers in them, and I recognized the chairs. I would have never dreamed that was the house, never.
Working as a realtor, she got this picture in the middle of a work day, leaving home with only the clothes on her back, not knowing it would be the last time, thinking about the precious memories inside.
I just thought, I have tubs of handwritten greeting cards from my grandchildren and my children. They don't even know I saved that. I was saving it for when, I'm gone, they can open it up and see. Oh, Mom loved us enough to save all the silly little drawings we did and stuff. I had a whole tub of those, and I know they're not there.
It's those memories that mean more to Barker than the possessions, like the jewelry and her entire life savings in cash. She lives alone and likes it that way. Now she doesn't know what's next, but still thankful for life, standing brave in the face of adversity.
And I'm trying so hard to keep it together and stay calm because I'm alive, and thank God no one else has passed away in this. And we made it through 2016, and we'll make it through this.
Baker is able to stay in a hotel room paid for by friends and family for now. Meanwhile, Tennessee authorities are still investigating the cause of the massive wildfire.
UNC fans continue a tradition on Saturday night by rushing Chapel Hill's Franklin Street seconds after the buzzer sounded on their 81-77 Final Four victory over Duke. The town government spent time prior to the game preparing for the potential Carolina victory by removing street signs and greasing the light poles so that students wouldn't be able to climb them. Despite their efforts, some students still found a way to scale the poles and set off fireworks amongst the crowd. It was estimated that 35,000 to 40,000 people joined in on the celebration. Town authorities reported 10 injuries, with none being serious. Like North Carolinians everywhere, many students here at UNCP felt like they had a personal stake in the Tar Heels game against the Blue Devils. CNT reporter Sonny Delmar asked around.
Are you happy that they won, or how do you feel about the game in general?
In general, well, it was a very tight game, but yeah, I was cheering for them, and yep, they won.
Man, the game, I thought it was complete bull, I'm gonna be honest. I felt like Duke should have won completely, especially towards the end, and Benchero, he turned up, but he didn't fully switch that light on at all. But, congrats to Chapel Hill and all that, but Duke definitely should have came out on top, especially since they just lost. Nah. I wanted to ask you guys how you felt about the outcome of the UNC versus Duke basketball game.
Not happy, that's for sure.
Yeah, it definitely could have gone better, especially towards the end. Duke kind of, how do I say this without cussing? Didn't do so hot. And choked. Yeah, they kind of choked near the end and lost only by a couple points, which sucks because it was Coach K's last game and all that, which what a way to end the season though.
Is it though?
Did you guys put any money on the game?
I have no money to spend. I'm in college, so no.
I was rooting for Carolina, but I ended up going to sleep. So I fell asleep. But, my boyfriend got to watch it. He was happy with the results. Coach K's out of the picture, period. But, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Country music singer Eric Church is making good with his fans after canceling a concert Saturday night to watch that Carolina game. He was scheduled to perform in San Antonio, Texas, and has admitted this was, quote, the most selfish thing he has ever done, and asked of his fans. On Instagram Friday, he announced a makeup, saying, "It took a minute to figure out how and when I could properly express my thanks." Church says it will be a one-of-a-kind free show on September 2nd for fans who already had tickets. Instead of San Antonio, it will be in New Braunfels, about 30 miles northeast.
Braves golf picks up a huge conference win.
And track and field breaks school records over the weekend.
Deshaun Donald is here to tell us about it. Plus, a Braves baseball player makes it to the Sports Center Top 10.
What's up, Brave Nation? I'm Deshaun Donald. Braves baseball hosted 5th-ranked North Greenville on Alumni Weekend. Friday, the Braves got hammered by the Crusaders 15-1. In the Saturday's doubleheader, North Greenville scored 10 times all 15 hits in Game 1 to dominate the series. It wasn't all dismissive, though. In the second game, the Black and Gold bounced back to capitalize on 6 Crusaders errors for 12 hits, putting a halt to the series sweep. One highlight was Gage Hammond's big stop to this foul ball that wrapped up in the 3rd inning.
Popped up, right side towards the Crusaders' dugout. Hammond's over, leaps into the dugout. Did he catch it? He did! Unbelievable!
You probably saw that clip on Sports in the Top 10. Saturday night, Coach Paul O'Neill said he told his team they had to dig deep if they was going to come out of this series alive.
We just talked about after Game 1 that, we've got to, really dig deep and find out a little bit about ourselves and, do everything in our power, to win a baseball game. We couldn't get swept, and that was the gist of what we talked about between ball games right there. And so that was that. And I felt like Evan gave us a quality start, kept us in it right there, and that's what we were lacking in the first 2 games.
Over the weekend, some of the men's track and field team went to the College of William & Mary to compete in the Colonial Relays. Friday, Joshua Kepskirt cruised to an event title in the 5,000-meter run while logging an NCAA provisional qualifying time and personal best on the opening day. Saturday, he joined the Braves 4x1,500-meter relay squad, which broke a 4-year-old school record with a time of 16:26:33. They took a 10th place finish in that event. On Saturday, some of the track and field members went to East Carolina University for the Bill Carson Invitational. Orlando's Gamble leaped to an NCAA provisional mark in the long jump, establishing a personal best mark of 7.27 meters and clinched the victory. Jayla Thomas broke the school record in a 200-meter dash with a time of 24.75 seconds, which was enough for a 3rd-place victory in that event. The men's and women's teams traveled to Goldsboro on Friday for the Aggie Invitational at North Carolina A&T. The Braves golf team was in first place out of 11 teams after 1 round in the Conference Carolinas Championships tournament Saturday. Sophomore Tony Blackwell was first on the leaderboard. The Braves continued their strong performance Monday in golf's equivalence of a doubleheader. It was then that Georgia Page claimed her 2nd individual tournament title this season with a round total of 228. Teammate Tony Blackwell finished just 2 strokes off that total for a run-up finish, shooting a 74 in the final round to match her lowest round this season. The team ran away with the Conference Carolinas Championship against 10 other schools. Amanda Hammerin shot a team low 73 in the final round, taking 7th place overall. Samantha DeBus and Elizabeth Ritchie rounded out the scoring, finishing 8th. The Kansas Jayhawks beat the North Carolina Tar Heels to win the men's March Madness in New Orleans Monday night. Kansas trailed by as many as 16 points in the first half and was down 15 at the halftime. But their 16-point comeback is the largest in NCAA title history. The game was tied 65-65 with 3 minutes left. The final score, 72-69. It was the Jayhawks' 10th appearance in the championship game, its 4th national championship. Carolina fans are crushed, but after the game, Coach Hubert Davis said he's proud of the men in his care.
I can't remember a time in my life where I should be disappointed, but I'm just filled with so much pride. I'm so proud of these guys, of what they have done for themselves individually as a team, the way that they have represented our university, this program, our community. I can't ask for them to do any more than what they have done, and I am extremely proud of each one of them.
Let's not forget the women. Our neighbors to the south took the basketball championship title on Sunday. The USC Gamecocks defeated University of Connecticut 73-57 in Minneapolis. It was their second national title in just 5 years. Congratulations to them. And I'm out of here. I'm Deshaun Donald, and I'll see you next week.
Thanks, Deshaun. That's all we have time for today. Make sure you tune in next week. I'm Jay Locklear.
And I'm Jayla Coley. We have 4 more episodes that you don't want to miss.